finally, we're going to get on the third part of what internal auditors do, and that is actually on governance. So internal auditors help assess and improve governance. Okay, now governance, it's according to the Institute of Internal Auditors, it's kind of a combination of different processes and structures that the board implements in order to direct, manage, inform, monitor the activities of the organization, and all of that to kind of bring it towards its objectives. So I've kind of boiled down those definitions and just say that it's the processes and structures that are put in place by whom? This is very important, put in place by the board to help the organization meet its goals and objectives. Just a second, does that mean the board does all the governance? No. No, right? No, I mean, the board, well, okay, let's look at, the UK's corporate governance code from the Cadbury Committee. It's the shareholders' role, represented by the board, to appoint the directors and the auditors and to satisfy themselves that an appropriate governance structure in place. So no, I mean, yes, obviously our dear shareholders, board, audit committee, risk committee, whatever, have a role in governance, but extremely importantly, obviously so does management in actually putting it all in place. So just to look at it from a corporate perspective, corporate governance is the system by which companies are directed and controlled. And I just want you to think for a second to actually change that to the internal auditor's perspective. Okay, so let's think about that. Let's think we're an internal auditor and we are looking at governance processes. Here, the internal auditor's role is to actually help satisfy shareholders, the board, that an appropriate governance structure is in place. Now think about that for a second. That means you need to be independent. Because if you're actually, say, reporting to management, how could you objectively, that means, truthfully from your own heart, give a perspective that is supposed to be true and honest if you were reporting to management? So that's why, independence is an important concept that we'll get on very soon. Let's now look at how, in more ways, internal auditors actually help improve the governance. So to help, the board, management as well, we communicate risk and control information. That's, I'm going to call it to the governing bodies because, it can include management as well. We help improve the organization by actually communicating those things. Because, frankly, think of it from the board's perspective. If they're only listening to management, management is going to tell them, let's just put it very nicely, what they want to hear. I'm not talking about any specific company here or organization, but the management has an obligation if they want to keep their bonuses and their job to actually tell the shareholders what they want to hear. So that's why internal audit exists, to cut through that layer of management to actually say things directly to the board. Again, the absolute crucial importance of independence. We provide assurance on how performance is managed and on accountability. What is accountability? Let's start with that one. You are accountable for your job. You are accountable for, meeting this target within 12 months. Otherwise, you're probably not going to get your bonus. Maybe it's put in your job description. If you have a good performance monitoring system over your own job performance, own evaluation system. That is likely to be put in your goals as well. So basically, that's what you're accountable for. We're communicating timely. So timely doesn't mean extremely quick. That means there's a balance between giving a situation which is extremely quick, but not necessarily very well researched, and actually giving a full, complete report. And so we try to give timely and relevant information to the different governing bodies. We promote ethics and values. And do you know the best way to promote ethics and values? Well, it's to be completely ethical yourself. You also promote it through, culture, frankly, just the way that you talk, the topics that you bring up, the things that you bring up at a board level, the way you act in a daily life. And here's an important one. So we help coordinate internal and external assurance. Okay, wait for a second here. External assurance. Is that external audit? Nah, not exactly. We know that assurance are the different people, bodies, organizations, which say that things are fine. Or maybe they don't say things are fine. That's even worse. Huh? They give you assurance over something. Remember I said that internal audit is far from the only ones in an organization that give assurance? I mean, you have your quality control department. They look at things daily on the quality of different products and services. You have your compliance department, which looks at how different departments are complying with the laws and regulations of whatever organization, country, and rules you need to follow, and internal rules. We're trying to figure out how we can work with them so we are avoiding duplication. A very special one is the external auditor. External audit, especially in recent years, they've decided to take on a lot of more obligations that were previously internal audit. So they're going to check all the controls in the accounting department, anything to do with financial controls. Now they're getting into compliance as well. What's going on? Anyway, we coordinate with them so that we're absolutely not doing duplicate work, because they're very likely, according to their own standards, going to perform certain controls without trusting us, often without trusting us. So sometimes trusting us, sometimes there's some coordination of who does what, but often without trusting us. So sometimes it means we shouldn't duplicate work that they're doing. Sometimes it means, especially if you can negotiate lower budgets, they shouldn't be doing work that we're going to do internally. Always have a meeting with your external auditors as head of internal audit to be able to coordinate with them, but not just external audit, with different assurance providers, both internally and externally to your organization. Huh? Plan meetings if you haven't done so already. Those are the three different parts. Internal auditors help assess and improve governance, risk management, and maintain effective controls. We help the organization meet its objectives through giving assurance that structures are in place for governance, that risks are managed, and that controls are in place to keep the organization on track. And all of that means you need to know the goals and objectives. So what I did in my current company, that I joined not long ago, could I please have the strategic plan? Oh, by the way, every single member of management, can I book a meeting with you? And that was also not just improve relations, but that was definitely also to understand the strategic plans, the strategic priorities. Okay, so I'm in a company that values sustainability. That's excellent to know, But coming from the outside, I would not necessarily have known that we have a full climate plan in place, and this is an important part of our values. Finally, the mission of internal audit. And this is from the Institute of Internal Auditors. Again, I'm breaking it down. It's not the exact definition. So the mission is to enhance, that's to make improvements, and protect, that's to avoid problems, on organizational value, a super vague term. Is it purely money? No. No, value comes from market share, comes from reputation, comes from strategic position, comes, I mean, for a lot of companies, from climate change mitigation, from meeting the objectives of your organization, of improving your organization in certain ways that are just going to make it better, or at least to preserve what they have now. And how do we do it? By providing assurance, which we checked over, advice and insight. Advice and insight isn't necessarily consulting, but it's definitely a big part of it. And this is important. Okay, now I'm bringing a concept called risk-based, which are risk-based and objective. Objective we checked, but risk-based is extremely important. So we add value. How? By giving assurance, advice, and insight. Our advice is risk-based because we actually look at risks as an extremely important part of our work. And objective.